Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to Mirror Interpretation Todorova. My name is Ioana, and I had a request from one of you guys, and I also been thinking for quite some time to create this video about this company. This is my badge. I still have it. Cyracom. So I did create about 5 videos about different things that I didn't like, how they did business in medical or in general, how they did business, how they treated me as their freelancer. And now I'm creating this video to talk about the positive sides of working for Cyracom. Um, the reason, I wanted to create this video because there is no such a company that is only bad or only good. There is companies that have their bad sides and companies that have their good sides, and I want to talk about the good side of this company. But before I start, guys, if you do want to know me better, you can press the join button. 2.99, I will address your questions. You could see videos once a week that are not published. 7.99, there is a special folder for members only where you could see different videos that are just for members. Know a little bit what I do, where I provide services, and so on. And also, yes, you can be part of my community and also ask questions that I'm gonna address in the lives for members only. I do once a month, and also I do for you guys, all the people in this channel. Also, I am going to be back and do once a month those videos. So let's start with this company. I will start from the beginning, the hiring process with Cyracom. And the reason I just want to address this because I was thinking and I've been thinking that it's not fair that I put only the problematic. I want to say now the beautiful things or the positive things of this company. So as you know, I was working as business to business interpreter while studying business management in Italy. Uh, I work as an interpreter before I was studying, but I didn't consider it as a serious job. It was just for fun because I was interpreting in the circus. This is where I started to interpret. And then I moved to Denver in 2016. I started working in the circus, but then I continue working in a trade fair, starting with one language and then adding additional languages. And then I moved in Denver in 2016 after I graduate business management in University of Perugia. I graduated on the 14th, and on the 16th of May, I fly for Denver. This was 2016. And I was broke. I have zero money in my pocket. Um, a friend of mine, her name is Veronica, give me 20 euros to buy a coffee. And with this money, I open a bank account in Arvada, Colorado. And so I was very, very broke, have no money. Somebody was kind of helping me. I was staying in their coach and all that. It was very uncomfortable. And I was applying for jobs, business related. I went to few interviews. I didn't even have money for the phone. I went to few interviews without having a phone. The appointment was scheduled by mail. They sent me by email. And then it was a lot of wasting of time. I went to quite a lot of interviews for business or something like that. They were not offering the money that I was expecting. And so I went to I met somebody. His name was Zacharias, Arabic guy, who helped me to make my resume American style. Um, just took the picture basically. because he said the problem was that I had a picture, because in the European resume there was a picture. And I started working as a bartender. I was, oh, I don't want to tell you, I was very bad bartender, but let me cut the story. Long story short, I was applying for jobs or Indeed every morning, different jobs. And this job was suggested to me for Bulgarian language as an interpreter. I did send my resume, but my resume was not focused on my language experiences. It was focused on my desire to work in a business field as business manager or something like that. I also had some experience as a recruiter and this and this and that. And Cyracom recruiter responded to me for the Bulgarian language. I will tell you that they were professional. They were professional, punctual, very clear. They sent me the email and they described the process of hiring. Uh, it was one email, general, and then they said, if you're interested, and I said yes, and then they said, okay, and the email was for the language was Bulgarian. I did have interpreting with Italian, English, a lot of Russian, some Bulgarian, medical, not medical, business. So they told me it's gonna be medical. And I just try to remember the medical appointments that I had in my life, which were not very much. But I said, okay, let's try. They said to me, don't worry, we're gonna train you. And they sent me their book. It's like this. I didn't had any American certification at the time. I only had 3 master degrees, one in Bulgaria, that is right there on that law. This is my master degree that I did in Bulgaria, in Trachea University of Stara Zagora. So I sent a copy of that, which for them was a proof that I was proficient in Bulgarian language. And they did send me the book, and they said to me, okay, we're gonna give you time to study this book. How much time do you need? And then we're gonna schedule a test. And I said, okay. I did read this book. I will be very honest with you. One time. That's it. I just did it one time. I do have a great memory. The book that they provide you, I will say it's very good. I will tell you why. Because if you don't have experience and if you don't know how to present yourself, it describes you to stay you pre-session, post-session, intervene somewhat. It's not as deep as having BTG is the best training I did. This one, the bridging the gap, they really in detail give you the medical interpreter how to present yourself and how to actually act in your role of interpreter. This one is just a test, it's more general, it's difficult, very difficult as well, but BTG trains you that. So the Cyracom Deplian or pre-hiring book, it gives you all the details about how to present yourself, how to interact, the role, and all this. So this is a positive, the positive side of them. No, the book is very good, very detailed, and I honestly was thinking that they would not test me like this on the pre-session, post-session, and so. So I read it one time. They also inform you that they are gonna test you on medical terminology, and I would say back then I was not aware, but I underestimate this exam of them. I was like, I'm medical. I have a lot of culture. I was thinking that would be okay. And so the book, I read it once. I have pretty good memory. I gotta say that. You probably guys, if you know me, you know this by now. Uh, I remember I was in the mountains sitting on the rock when I did this test. So I was there is this place with the red rocks located behind Boulder here in Denver. Some friend of mine was housekeeping there. There was some goats and it was nothing, just the mountains and this house. And I was with this friend for the weekend. Anyway, my test come. Uh, it's been long, it's been like a long time ago, I would say. 2016, it was the first week of September, the test. I remember I was still working as a bartender. I've been here like 4 or 5 months. Now I was more confident in speaking the English language as American with American slang. And then um, I was a little bit nervous, you know. I was nervous about the pre-session and the post-session. Hello, my name is Ioana. Here is my ID 181643. You could see it. I will be your Bulgarian interpreter. How can I help you? Uh, Cyracom used to like for you to say, I will interpret everything you say and keep it confidential. How can I help you? This is very long pre-session. Hello, my name is Ioana. My ID is 181643. I will be a Bulgarian interpreter. I will interpret everything you say and keep it confidential. That was their pre-session. And also the post-session was similar, very long. My ID, thank you for using our services, blah, 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 blah. So the pre-post session was longer. Their pre-post session is longer, you know. And so but they have it described in this book. The book was 60 pages or so, very, very clear. And then the last part of the test, so they test you on the book material, which if you don't have the CCHI and BTG, I will tell you, you have to know. Now I know everything in this book because I have the trainings and I can say it in memory. If they ask me pre-session, post-session, interpreter need a clarification. Hello, this is the interpreter speaking. I need a repetition, the third form all time. I know all the rules now, but back then I did not. Although the first part of the test I did pass, the part of the best practice, best protocols, code of ethics for interpreters. That's the first part of this book, is based on national standard of best practice and best protocols. And if you have the California standards code of ethics, both of them combine and very well structured and put together. This is the Cyracom first part of the book, which is very good for people that doesn't have experience, that doesn't have that haven't worked as an interpreters, because it's a very good book. I after having all these experiences as medical and all the trainings, I gotta tell you that they did a very good job. Although I didn't like other things, but I know in a big company you're not able to control how everybody do their job and service and so on and so. So good book. I want to say bravo. So if you're going through their process of recruiting, you're going to receive a copy, maybe updated, of this book, where it's going to be best practice, best protocol, well structured, well organized, well explained, clear and tight. And the book is good. So if you apply with them, this is a good. I know a lot of people doesn't want to be tested up front. Well, don't be scared. The test is in English here only. So the best practice, best protocols, the first 40 to 50 pages, I advise you to memorize them as best as you can. Not only, but to try to understand how to apply those rules in your day-to-day life. And then the second part of the test was medical vocabulary. I remember very well, they asked something. Dendruf is one of the words that I didn't know, and the second one was hysterectomy. They asked these terms that I was like, or biopsy. So the medical test that they give you, they tell you, for example, hysterectomy. And ectomy is removed. Now I know what it means, obviously. But back then I was like, hysterectomy. And I was like, what is that? And I remember that the tester told me, and I was like, why they would even do this to someone? Why they would do hysterectomy? I was so terrorized by even the existence of these terms. I'm laughing now. You can laugh with me. But so they give you the term, for example, hysterectomy. And hysterectomy is a removal of a female parts, could be female parts, the uterus, it could be partial or total hysterectomy, total when they remove the ovaries included. And so the reason for this is medicals. You can, now I know because I study for it, but back then I didn't know. Or vasectomy, they give you the term biopsy and you have to describe it. Biopsy is a procedure with a special scope inserted to the throat. No, sorry, this is apparentoscopy. Biopsy is when you take a small partial of of a body cell and you examine it in the lab, or so. Take a part of a cell to examine it. Usually is done for cancer or some other kind of growth. But biopsy is when you take a body tissue, small part of body tissue. Normally they take it with a clips, no? So they will give you these small words and you will have a certain time to respond. What is it? Cavity. What is cavity? No? Just medical terminology. And some of them will be general medical, but for example, hysterectomy, endoscopy. So the first time that I did the test, I failed on the medical terminology. Yes. And I was like, oh my goodness, I feel so bad. I wanted to give it a try. And then and they tell me, don't worry, we give 3 chances. I suppose they really needed Bulgarian, you know. So they said, don't worry, we can test you once again. How long do you need? I said, okay, give me 2 weeks. And so I spent 2 weeks studying medical terminology. I quit my job actually, and I went in the mountains in Bailey, in this hunting hut, where I spent 2 weeks studying medical terminology. I study body system. I study the most common. I still have. I write them down. I write the meaning on the both languages. So I will tell you, I learn a lot in these 2 weeks. Uh, so I was able to pass the second time. I did the second test after 2 weeks. It was the end of September, and I did pass it, and I got hired. I also at this time my documents were expiring, but they were pretty kind. They were very kind and very understanding. And I would say that the hiring process is whoever was there back then. Uh, I did a great job. I cannot say, non posso dire una pecca, si dice in italiano. I cannot say a bad word for it. They were professional, punctual, clear. The test was clear. They told me, you know what, you should study a little bit the medical terminology. We give you another chance. So they did not test me on the both languages for the hiring process. So they test me in English and medical terminology, best practice, best protocols. But what they do, they monitor your calls, and they have 2 types of monitoring. One is in English for best practice, best protocols, code of ethics, and the second one is bilingual, when somebody that speaks your language listen to your call and then send you a report. So they have a pretty good system of hiring, I would say. I try not to speak about bad things about, because I also dislike the fact that they send you only bad comments. They never tell you what you did right. And I don't mind if somebody tell me, hey, you know what, you did bad here, because it's okay if I do mistake. But what I dislike in this communication is that they didn't give you the tools to do better. For example, they tell you, okay, for example, I'm giving you example why I think that their monitoring was dysfunctional. Let's say I pick up the phone and say, hello, my name is Ioana ID 184 I will be a Bulgarian interpreter. How can I help you? And they're like, okay, hi interpreters, yes, blah, blah, blah. And then the monitoring plug into the line. And they write, oh, you didn't say a pre-session, or you didn't say a post-session. When the monitor come after I stated my post-session or pre-session, and they would send you this feedback based on this not full monitoring, not realistical, criticizing you and telling you that you do bad, which I didn't like. But the truth is that they actually made an effort to monitor your calls, or log into your call when you're in a call and listen and see how you work, which I think is a good practice to see how your interpreters present you. Although I didn't think it's very functional, and I didn't think that they were able to use this tool the best in their advantage to to train you how to be better, and or how they want you to speak instead, so but yes, this is like the unpleasant and the pleasant part of it. They hire you and then they start to grill you. I made 5 videos about their grilling. I will link them below. What they do that I did not like about the bad communication that they send you, that I find is a little bit dysfunctional, because they don't actually give you the tools or tell you what they expect from you or how they want you to address this same problem if ever happen again. Um, but but the grilling that comes from them is positive, because it teaches you to be strong. Yes. So they throw you there, and I was hired for Bulgarian and then Russian and Italian, and I had quite a lot of Russian calls for them. And I will tell you, their customers were nasty. I believe that this contract that they had, they win it by default because there was nobody else bidding for it. And and I know why, because the clinic, I don't know if it was mental health or something, but they were so nasty, abusive. They were calling you down. I mean, I will tell you, I was depressed after the last period that I was working for them. I was extremely depressed because of the way I was treated there, not only by the Cyracom customer care, but also by the hospitals. They were like, "You interpreter, you better listen to me. Like, they were abusive, angry, aggressive. Then I will disconnect and transfer the call to customer care, and customer will call and threaten me. So it was very unhealthy environment, but I learned a lot. I gotta say, I learned a lot. It was part of my journey, part of my past, which I'm grateful for. So the positive thing is that you can start working for them without having an experience, as long as you're proficient. Uh, and they will monitor you quite a lot, and they will send you quite not pleasant emails and not pleasant feedbacks, and all this. But you learn. Another positive things about them, I have checked if they're honest with the number of calls you do, they get recorded. Yes, they are honest. Comparing to Stratus, for example, Cyracom, if you work 5 minutes, the call will be recorded and you're gonna be paid. Another thing that is good about them, honest with the heart, hand on my heart, they have never been paid, never been late to pay, never. They have been punctual as a clock. 5 or 6 years I provide service for them, around 5, I believe. I cannot say a bad word. Yes, they don't pay you a lot of money, but they are punctual. You can count on it. If you work 5 hours, you're gonna get the money. They are not crooks. They are not dishonest. Like, they are very, very professional about this, and I don't want to say bad about it. um, Although the experience providing services for them was extremely traumatic and damaging for me, I honestly can say I went into deep depression providing services for them because of the abuse, the many hours of abuse from their hospitals and their customer cares. This affected me sadly, but they are punctual. They are very punctual with payment. I remember clearly that last month I will be like waking up in the morning and have this feeling to actually puke because I have to start to work for them. And I was not understanding how it's possible that I do what I love and I have these terrible feelings, until I was able to admit to myself that it's not normal to scream on you and call you down and offend you, and then have all these negative emails and calls from Cyracom as well, um, and all that. I just, I was not able to face it and name it that it was abusive work environment, which I did later on. But they were punctual with the money. They were. And so I think that's the good part. So if you are new, if you're starting, and if you just want to try how it's gonna be like, you can apply. This is the company name. I'm just gonna show you my badge. You can apply in their website, Cyracom. I believe it's .com, and they have, let me see if it's .com. I don't know, but they have a Tucson, Arizona. This is their company badge. They do have, and the calls were different, medical, legal, a lot. Then if you work with them with the time, another thing, they will offer you high security clearances, and you will have police. And I will tell you also another positive things, that they have various calls, international. I provide Australia, Cuba, Guatemala, Mexico, I don't know, UK. They have very multicultural clients, and you will be able to work from home for many countries, which is exciting, which is fun. So that's a good thing about it. Said that, if you are starting and you like to try to work as an interpreter, I think uh, this was my experience, but I do hope that Cyracom did make some improvements, that they did change this bully manner of communicating. And I do hope that you have a better experience than me, because I believe that if they're still in business, they eventually thrive to be better, provide their services, and be better in that field. So if you're a new interpreter, you can. This is their process. This was my experience. This is the good things about them. You can learn a lot. You don't need experience with them. They will hire you on the spot. If they need your languages, they're punctual with payments. The training is pretty good for the starters. And yeah, and I hope you have a better experience than mine if you start with them. Thank you and have a good day. Bye bye.